Diamondbacks, Sidewinders, Fisheye Dodgers, and Fisheye Pros with the patented Moon Crackle tape. FHS Dodgers flat out perform. Get yours now at fishhuntshoot.com. 52 feet deep. We started out deep, wasn't working. There's a lot of fish out deep, but we weren't able to hook them. So we moved inshore. We started working these points here. We were at about 75 feet of water, about 52 feet deep. This is on one of our minnow tubes and one of our fisheye Dodgers. It's a nice fish. Just taking it nice and easy. Oh yeah, nice king. Got that treble hook on there, so hopefully we got him pretty good. We'll see. There we go. Woo! Nice fish. Oh yeah, fish on. Woo! I got one. He smashed that shad tube. That is awesome. Nice fish. Feels really heavy. We'll see. We're in pretty heavy wind here. He's staying down. He's fighting hard. He's trying to jump. Still 125 feet behind the boat. Okay, I'm trying to keep him down, keep him from jumping. Killed the motor. We were having a hard time in that wind. Here we go. Oh! Nice. Let me show you this fish. Man, I fought that fish for a long time in that wind. It was difficult. It's all tangled up. Look at that beautiful trout. Man, that is awesome. It is not an easy bite out here this morning. That is a really nice and clean Shasta Lake rainbow. We've had some problems with copepods. This one has a little mark there. But like I said, it hasn't been easy this morning. We've been marking a ton of fish. We've got a couple bass, we've got a couple trout. We got one trout with copepods that I didn't want to film. We got this beauty here. But we've been working the marks, and we pop him off the hook here. He really wanted that shad tube. I'm running one of my rainbow colored shad tubes behind the watermelon Diamondback. We were going about 1.4 when that fish hit. And he got... It is not easy today. Oh, fish in the other rod. That one's on a worm. Get this one back in the water. That was on the Dick Knight. Pandemonium breaks out. There we go. Go figure. I hadn't had a strike all morning, and that's practically a double hookup. Nice fish, though. Awesome rainbow. Oh yeah, right there. Oh, that's a nice fish. That's a nice fish for French Meadows, that's for sure. Howdy folks, Cal Kellogg here. We are going Canadian today. I am answering a viewer question from up in BC, Canada. A guy named Wayne. He asked me, you know, when do you choose a large Dodger versus when do you choose a small Dodger? In the beginning of this video, you saw me catch fish on big Dodgers and small Dodgers. So here's my basic philosophy. And you know, this isn't written in stone, but this is my general approach to Dodgers. Let me show you some Dodgers here. Let me show you a couple of my my favorite big dodgers, quote unquote big dodgers. These are both 6-inch blades. Right here, everything's backwards in the camera, by the way. It's like looking into a mirror. Right here, we have a 6-inch fisheye dodger. And right here, we have a 6-inch watermelon pattern sling blade. So these are two of my very favorite dodgers. I use them in a few different colors, but almost always when you see me running a 6-inch blade, it's when I'm fishing an open water lake, a big reservoir, Lake Shasta. That's the biggest reservoir in California. Don Pedro, Folsom. And those big reservoirs here in California, the California guys know this, but maybe the guys up in BC don't. Our big reservoirs, they fish a lot like the ocean. They fish like an ocean salmon bite, whether you're targeting landlocked kings or trout. Got big open expanses of water, you have deep water, and you have open water predators feeding on schools of bait, typically in the form of either pond smelt or threadfin shad. Those fish earn a living by roving open water, either finding bait or finding other predators feeding on bait. They move in on that bait, and any bait that looks crippled or any bait that they can catch, man, they nail it, and that's what they do. So by running a big blade like this with a spoon, like one of these here, with a spoon, you are mimicking the vibrations and impulses put off by feeding fish, feeding kings, feeding rainbows. Other fish come in to see what's going on. They come in to see what all the excitement's about. And I don't think there's any of us that have been out fishing that haven't, if we've been fishing much, you reel in one fish and some other fish come along for the ride just to see what's going on. Well, that's what you're trying to do with a large dodger like that. You're trying to draw fish in to see what's going on. Then they see your lure, they grab it, they want to get in on the action, and you've got a fish fighting at the end of your line. That's how it's supposed to work. So I use these. First, I'm tangled up. I'm always tangled up. But anyway, that's what I use these large 6-inch blades for. Sometimes I'll use the super big, what is that, 7 or 8-inch sling blades. Sometimes I'll use those. So big water, big schools of bait, big open expanses, big blades. Draw fish in from a distance and then close the deal with the lure that's being fished behind the dodger. And for me, 9 times out of 10, if I'm targeting open water trout, I'm going to be trailing a spoon behind the dodger most of the time. Now, let's move on to small blades. Now, I might use small blades in open water situations, but I'm much more likely to use small dodgers at smaller waters. Right here, I have a Sidewinder dodger. That's about a 3.5 to 4-inch blade, and here I have one of my mini Diamondback dodgers, and that's the same size range. It's a little bit more compact. These dodgers have a ton of action, but they have a small profile. Now, typically up at a high Sierra lake, something like that, if I bust out one of my 6-inch blades, I'm risking scaring the fish. They're not used to big schools of bait. They're not used to moving in on schools of bait that are being assaulted by dozens of trout or king salmon. It's just a more subtle fishery. Typically, they might feed on some minnows, but typically they're feeding on bugs. It's just a lot more subtle. It's just a lot kind of a quieter fishery, if you will. It's more subdued, even though high mountain trout tend to be more aggressive than their foothill and valley, cousins down there, simply because the feeding season is smaller up in the high mountains. But basically, I'm using these blades for a subtler presentation, whether I'm fishing in the high mountains or down in the larger impoundments. If I'm fishing a blade like this down in a larger impoundment like Shasta or Folsom, it's because my big aggressive stuff has failed me. I've switched over to these, and I'm typically pulling some sort of soft plastic like a tube, a shad tube, a minnow tube, something like that behind a smaller blade. And if I'm using these up in the high Sierras, you can almost bet I'm going to be pulling a threaded worm behind it, a gulp worm behind it, or a plastic grub behind it. It's all about subtlety. It's all about what the fish expect to see. It's all about what can potentially draw the fish in, but also what can potentially put the fish off the bite and scare them. And most of the time here on the channel, I'm talking generally. I'm talking big picture. Nothing's written in stone when it comes to fish. There are so many variables, but that's kind of the short answer there, Wayne. Well, actually, that was a long answer. The short answer is this, Wayne. Big open water situations, big schools of bait, multiple fish feeding on the bait. I'm using big blades like these to draw fish in from a distance. They spot the lure, deal done, fish on. The smaller blades, I'm using these for subtler presentations, whether I'm fishing a tough bite down in a big impoundment or I'm fishing in the high Sierras, and I'm typically pairing these with things like grubs, threaded worms, threaded gulp, stuff like that. Hope that helps. I know you guys got a lot of great bug lakes up there in BC. I've never fished there, but I know going in, I would want some small blades, I would want some flashers, and I would want some worms in the boat. Could probably catch fish up there all day long on spoons, but my fallback position is the subtle stuff, the natural bait, the soft stuff, so that's what I'd be pulling. Anyway, hope that help you catch some more fish in the coming year, Wayne, and thank you very much for the question. I hope all is well up there in BC, and I hope to visit one of these days and sample a little saltwater action and some freshwater stuff. I'd love to fish for rainbows up there. I know you guys have some tremendous fisheries. Anyhow, I'm Kel Kellogg. I'm signing off. If you were looking for dodgers, whether you're looking for small dodgers or you're looking for some big 6-inch fish eyes just like that, go on over to the Fish Hunt Shoot Productions store on the Fish Hunt Shoot Productions website. You'll see my full line of gear there. Quality stuff at a fair price, stuff that you see me fishing, stuff that I believe in. So that's about all I got to say. I will catch you next time right here on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed, you know what to do. Please hit that subscribe button, support the channel, and hit that bell notification, and you'll know anytime I'm on here jabbering about fishing. I'm Cal Kellogg. You have a safe, productive day, and I will see you real soon.